What's up, YouTubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight. I've decided I'm going to start doing 3 lake breakdowns per week since you guys love it so much. But I'm going to do 3 different lakes. So I'm going to kind of keep a rotation going for you guys. So right now in our rotation, I'm finishing up Toledo Bend. So I got the east side covered. I just started kicking off Ray Roberts. So if you didn't go look at that video, definitely go check that one out. Just started off Lake Ray Roberts. And tonight, I'm going to start off a huge requested one that I requested several different times. It's a big lake. It's going to take us a little bit time to get through, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it. Looks like a super cool lake to fish, and that is Lake Whitney. So tonight we're going to kick off the Lake Whitney series on the Google Earth side. Stick around. I got some good stuff for you. Before we go into and break down a lake, let's talk about the lake real quick. Just going out to the Texas Park and Wildlife page, Lake Whitney. It's located on the Brazos River and Nolan Rivers off of Texas Highway 22, about 30 miles northwest of Waco. So for us, it would be southwest of us from the DFW area. Surface acres, pretty good size, 23,500 acres. Maximum depth, 108 feet, so pretty deep lake. Impounded in 1951. So looks like a really cool lake to go to. Definitely one of those that's on my bucket list. Fluctuations about 4 to 8 feet annually. So we were able to find quite a bit of things from the Google Earth side. Clarity says that it's stained, which is a little bit surprising to me. It looked like it might be a pretty clear lake. As far as different aquatic vegetation that was out there, it does say that there's willow bush, pondweed, buttonbush, bulbrush, coontail, pondweed, and water willow. As far as the predominant species, it says it has striped bass and white bass, smallmouth and largemouth, crappie, channel, blue, flathead, and catfish. So when you go down here and look at it, it says the largemouth bass fishing here is really good. Catfish is really good as well. And then you see sunfish, white bass, and striped bass is good as well. So it's considered to be one of the prettiest lakes in Texas. So definitely one of those that I have on the list. Let's look real quick before we switch over to Google Earth at the lake records for this one. Largemouth bass for this one, lake record 1999, 11.6 pounds. So a little bit smaller than what we've seen recently. And then the last bass smallmouth that was actually recorded was 7.72 pounds, but that was back in 1988. So interesting to see if there's still smallmouth in this lake. I imagine there are, with it being 108 feet deep, but just kind of curious why we're not having any updated statistics on this one. So let's go ahead. Let's switch over to Google Earth. Let's see what we found on this one. I love it. Now we get into the good stuff, and that's Lake Whitney. So as I mentioned before, Lake Whitney is going to be just southwest of the DFW Metroplex. You can see just west and southwest of Fort Worth and just north and west of Waco. So kind of halfway between us and Waco. So I'm going to start putting this one on my list. I didn't realize it was as close to us as it is. So looking over here to the left-hand side real quick, just show you how I broke this thing down. I'm going to zoom out here so you can see it. So first off, Texas Park and Wildlife did have some fish attractor sites that were out here on this lake. So if I zoom this back, sorry for all the scrolling, you can see here they did have a couple. Now, they didn't have a lot, and it was kind of confusing as to what they had here, but they basically have this path, and I put this in here on the waypoints, but you just follow this path. It'll take you right to the different fish attractors. There's only 3 of them out here, but go check those out. I guarantee those are going to be good spots to fish. We've also went through, I did a lot of different offshore stuff, so we'll talk about that in the offshore video. As you can see here, we have a lot of different offshore stuff to take a look at. So really liked how this lake set up from an offshore standpoint. Tons of different cover we're going to talk about tonight: rocks, creek channels, and ramps. So we're going to go through all of that tonight. Let's go ahead and start at the very bottom corner down here. It's very far southwest corner. Let's start right at the dam, and then we'll work down to that corner. And let's just talk about what we found. So this current image right here, this is for 2021. So you can see here, we're already seeing rock on here. So the lake must be fairly low in this image as well, but we're going to pull this back. You can see here that rock's not as exposed, but I'm going to go to 2014 because I felt like that was the best image that we have. And it's very similar to what we just saw in 2021. So kind of scary that the lakes are getting down that low, but it's that time of year for them to get down low. But right here, starting off, real good area, real good rocks, real good ledges and things to fish around these two little points, especially this point right in here. I really like, how that one sets up. So then we move further up here. Again, you got some really deep ledges going on right in here, but off these points, there are some shallow ledges that kind of set up before it drops off. So right in here, you got some good rock, and right over here off of this point as well, you got some pretty good rock in there too. Moving down a little bit further, did find a laydown that was down here. And these bluff walls are fun to fish. If you've never fished bluff walls before, if you're not familiar with it, one thing that we did a lot back up in Missouri when we fished the bluff walls, especially in the wintertime, is we fished tubes. And basically what we would do is we just throw that tube all the way up against the bluff wall, and we would drag it down those little shelves that are there and just let it float. And literally the bite would come as the bait was falling. Obviously you wouldn't be able to get all the way down the bottom as you'd be down, 90 something feet, but you'd let it drop, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet. And then just kind of mess around with it, moving it up and down, and that tube would actually get you some pretty good bites. So maybe try that one out here. I don't know if that's a Texas thing or not, but it's definitely something that we did back in Missouri. So pretty good laydown over here that you can see. Got real good rock going on right in this area. Always like to see that stuff. Another good rock, all good rocky areas, but I'm really just pointing out like the primo rock stuff that we found in here. Right here is a real good spot, some real good chunk rock or rock that's kind of split up in this area, makes a pretty decent little point right here by this dock. Really liked how that one's set up. You got a ramp back in here, and you guys have heard me talk about the ramp pattern. If you can find these ramps, especially old ramps that haven't been used or personal ramps, those things can sometimes be just absolute honey holes. So go out and check those out. If you see these ramps on here, fish them. And if you start catching fish on some of these ramps, you're probably going to catch fish on all of the ramps. So once you get on that pattern, it is an easy pattern to follow and is a great pattern to be able to get on fish. So as we move further down here, we got that ramp here that we talked about. That's this one right here. And if we look at that when the water's up, it's definitely going to be a lot farther underwater than what we're seeing, back in 2014. So again, here you've got some pretty good rock that you could fish around here. Good little transition area from the dirt back over to the rock. If we move further down in here, we've got some really good rock off this point. Man, this lake, it just looks absolutely beautiful. As we move further back here, there's also another, I put rock, this actually should be ramp. There's a ramp right there as well. And then when you get way back in here, there's a pretty decent little creek channel going on back in here. Let me see if I can get this further down. I think I was actually able to find, thought I was able to find a better image for you guys, but it looks like 14 is going to be our best. But the creek channel kind of runs back through here. And you can see, like right in here, this would be a good area to fish. Right here where I have this rock. Also right here where this rock is, it's kind of getting close to the creek channel swing. I could see fish setting up in there. And then you can just follow it back. That's just the creek channel going all the way back in there if you wanted to follow that back. But hit it where the turns are going to be your primo spots. So right in here would be a really good area to fish. And then also back in here would be a good area to fish as well. So if you wanted to go way back in there, definitely go back and check out those spots. Moving further back out here, got a nice little brush pile that's showing itself. You can see that one right in there. Again, move the water up. That thing's going to be pretty much under the water. You're not going to be able to tell that it's there. So go check that one out. Looks like a pretty decent little brush pile. Moving further up here, got some debris that's over here. You can see right here that I have marked for you, and there's a laydown right here. Again, if the water's up to where it should be, that laydown is going to be pretty far in the water, so you're not going to know that that one's there. There's also some old boat ramps here, and you guys have heard me, maybe not, since you're fishing Lake Whitney, you may not fish Lake Louisville, but we went out to Lake Louisville pre-fishing for one of the Angler of the Year tournaments last year, and we got on that boat ramp pattern that I was telling you about, and it was fire. I don't know what happened when it came tournament day because that whole thing, the whole pattern didn't work in tournament day, but prior to that, these old boat ramps were just the places to go fish, and this one sets up just like that. It looks like an old boat ramp, probably not being used, and when the water's up, those things are completely submerged. So those are going to be really good ramps to go fish. Moving on up here around the around this point, there's another one of those ramps that's out here. It's hidden again. I don't know if they've changed something on this lake, kind of like they did Louisville, where they changed the elevation and things like that, or not changed the elevation, but they made the lake a lot deeper or something like that. I can't know what exactly they did, but it made them move all their ramps. This could be the same type thing for Lake Whitney, not sure, but you got another good ramp here that's totally submerged. You got more rock over in this area. Bunch of docks back there to fish. And then right here, I like this spot right here just because the rock changes and you got kind of a really good group of chunky rock right here on the edge of this. So go check out that little spot right in there. Moving kind of back out, show you guys where I'm at. I'm coming out of that first pocket that we talked about. Coming over here, getting off the this cliff jumps right in here. That looks fun. So if you're a cliff jumper, that'd be a good spot to go to. You can see that being super, super deep. Moving over here, got another one of those ramps. Looks like maybe it used to be there, but definitely not being used anymore. But that ramp is out there. Go check that one out. These rocks in here look really good too, providing really good shadows, good places for the fish to hide behind. Right here, I don't know why that says ramp. It should say rock, but I really like how this boulder kind of comes out right here. So go take a look at that one, and I'll change that to say rock instead of ramp. Then moving over in here, I just like the rock that was coming off this point. So obviously you've got a really deep channel here. This is probably your main river arm or a river channel coming through here. So I can see them setting up on this point, and these rocks really give them really good place. They're really good cover for them to hide behind. So take a look right in here. Just see what you can find. Again, this is going to look a lot different if you're out there and the water's up, but that one's a little bit stays a little bit further out. So I guess it's going to look pretty similar, but go check out that point. I really like the way that point looks. Then I'm going to move a little bit further up. Next thing we find up here, again, is another one of those little stick outs, where those boulders are. So I always like those. Those are always good areas to fish. They provide good shade, all that good stuff. So I like that. There's a lot of debris that's back here as well. So if you look back in this pocket, just a lot of junk. And bass, they get in the strangest spots, but there's junk like that. They like to hide around that stuff. So go take a look at that. And I just noticed this as we're talking to you. And maybe it's because I can't tell if this tree is dangling over the edge or if that tree is actually in the water. But that could be a potential brush pile there. So if you're out here fishing this, just go back in this pocket and see if there's any brush right in this area. Could be something there that I missed. Moving on up here, again, just pointing out different little rocky area. Obviously, you've got a big bluff here, but changes right in here. So there's a little bit of a transition going on right in this area. So take a look at the rocky area right in there. Always go look at these little pockets too. These are always good areas to find fish. And then these little isolated rock piles, you can see them. Got one there, another one right here that's really isolated. It's just different. And those are the things that they get attracted to, is anything that's a little bit different. Same thing right in here where I marked that rock. You got rock off the point where you've also got a little transition area, right? So totally different kind of rock going back into more of that big ledge type. So right in this area could be a real good spot to go look at to try to find some fish there. Moving on down again, just some real good rock in these areas. If you look really closely where I have that marker, those are those little boulders I'm telling you about. They just kind of stick out. Really like fishing around things like that. Got another one out here that's a little bit further out in the water. So got to be careful not to hit that with the prop. But nice little boulder there. Not sure what's underneath there, but I would definitely look in there. That looks good. Real close to that point too. And out by itself. And you always like things like that are out by themselves. Show you guys where I'm at right now. I'm getting back in here into this first little pocket, getting close to those brush piles I was telling you guys about. I'm going to move a little bit further back in here to this first little cut. And right here, you got a little rock that makes a little point that comes out. Really like that one. Mark that one for you guys. Right here, this looks really interesting because you've got rock everywhere, but then you've got like this little sandy area right in here. So you got a little bit of a transition going on somewhere in this little area. So look right in here. Got another ramp that's out here. Love the ramps. And we got a brush pile that shows up. So I always like it when those brush piles show up. Those Those are fun to fish, and they usually almost always have fish on them. So always good spots to take a look at. Moving further back in this pocket, just kind of, I'm going to stay on this side and then we'll come up to the other side. You got to be careful. There's a lot of brush and stuff that I'm seeing out in here. It's got to be really careful. There's a boat out there too, so probably go out there and flip those stick ups and have some fun over there. But I'll move back down. We'll come back up to that in a minute. We got rock right in here. There's those Texas Park and Wildlife brush attractors I told you guys about, fish attractors. Another ramp down in here. You got a marina or something going on back in here. Got another ramp back in here as well. I marked these little channels back in here. If you want to go up in there and fish them, they don't look as good as, you know, some of our East Texas stuff, but, you know, maybe you want to go back in there and get up in those creeks, you definitely could. I went ahead and marked where the creeks were. Also up in here, you got another creek channel you could get up in, and there's some brush up here too. So this one may be a little bit more interesting than that one back there. You got some rock over in there, got some brush right in here, got a little bit of brush in here, debris back in this little pocket back here. Again, you got to be careful because I'm seeing a lot of stick ups and stuff like that. Got some more brush in here. So maybe getting up in this pocket probably more primo than the other one. But I could be totally wrong, or getting up in that creek, but I could be completely wrong. Could be the other one, could be the best one. So then moving down through here, we talked about the brush and the debris. We got some additional rock that's over here, and it's out away from that bluff wall. So right in here could be a real good spot where I've marked rock in all these spots. These are all big boulders that kind of stick out. Could be good primo spots to be fishing around. So I'm going to zoom back up around here. I'm going to finish this thing up once we get up right up here to where it says debris. So let's go ahead and finish right in here, and let's talk about these couple different spots that we have here. One is we got a little bit of rock right in here again. Now, again, you know, I'm pointing out those primo spots. I know there's a ton of rock on this lake, so just beware. You know, just because I say there's rock, that doesn't mean I marked every rock on the lake. Definitely didn't do that, but I like this formation of this rock. See how it has just the little shelves here? So you know you got a pretty good break that's going on right in here. I also like the fact that it's pretty limited to just this area. You've got the rock here, but then you got dirt and dirt over here as well. So go look at this. Good little secondary point right in there that you could go take a look at. Moving a little bit further up here, got a boat ramp, so you can go check that out. Got a nice little drop going on over here off the side. Notice these stick ups. Man, I love fishing those things. Anytime you get those little brush, stick ups, trees, whatever it is, I want to flip it for sure. It's fun stuff. Right in here, real good drop offs. So go take a look right off the edge of that point. You got a pretty good drop right in there. Let's pull the water up. Yeah, that drop's going to be really good just right there in that spot. Pulling the water back down, moving down. We've got another good little point coming off here, a little rocky point you can check out. Nice little rock piles in here. You got the creek channel. I went ahead and just marked for you there. You've also got some more rock up in here off of this point, little bitty point here. Then I said to check this because I don't really know what it is, but there's this path that comes down. And I don't know if it's concrete or not, but if it's concrete, it goes all the way into the water. So check out that little path that's right in there. Again, back in here, you got another creek channel, but you got some good stuff back in here. If you can get back up in here, just be careful. We got a lot of laydowns. You got some debris back in here as well. Got some really good rock formations going on right here on some of these turns. So good places to go back and take a look at for sure. Moving up here, got a laydown right in here that you can see. And it's a little bit of isolated rock going on right in there. We've also got some isolated rock right in that area as well. And then that takes us up here to our last spot that I want to show you. And really, I don't know if this is a creek channel or a ditch. I'm just going to mark it as a channel. But you can tell that it definitely makes a formation in the land. So you've got a little ditch that's going on up here. This is completely different than what we've been talking about, right? This is just dirt and really no rock at all. So you could see them. I could see them collecting in an area like that, in a little ditch like that. So we're going to end right there. On the next video for Lake Whitney, we'll start right here where it says debris, right outside of this island. And then we'll keep moving our way up, and then we'll move our way all the way back down. So, hey guys, I hope this is really helping you. If you have some lakes that I haven't broke down yet, definitely put them down there in the comments. I'll add them to my list. Until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.